Good evening, I'm Tom Mann and welcome to Griffith University News. Due to the increasing popularity for online shopping, major shopping centres are struggling to attract customers. Pacific Fair have met this problem and are now undergoing a $1 billion makeover in order to extend the customer experience beyond retail. Maria Norga has this story.
Nowadays, people can shop from the comfort of their own home through online shopping. Shopping centres therefore have to give their customers more reason to head out.
Shopping centres are no longer just a place people will go and accept what's there. You need to create an experience, you need to create a place where people want to be. It's just not the dynamics of shopping, it's the dynamics of experiencing a place.
Some of Queensland's largest centres, for example Pacific Fair, have undertaken or are in the process of multi-million-dollar makeovers.
The Gold Coast is a fast-growing market, so we had a significant investment here and decided that it was a good option.
The redevelopment of Pacific Fair was first talked about 3 years ago, but it was not until AMP Capital became the sole owner of the centre the project was given the green lights.
We'll be far more sophisticated with a resort-style ambience, luxury tenants, international tenants, restaurants, cafe courts.
With the investment, AMP Capital will transform Pacific Fair into a world-class shopping destination.
We are perfectly located to be all things to everybody and provide that shopping experience that the visitor is seeking.
The increasing popularity for online shopping puts shopping centres in a position where they have to change in order to attract customers. We are excited to see how Pacific Fair will turn out to be after their 3-year development. Maria Norga reporting from Griffith University News.
The new light rail system on the Gold Coast is already causing mass traffic problems before it has even started its services. A major intersection in Broadbeach is leaving hundreds of drivers stuck due to the traffic lights being reset by the light rail. Elise Stevenson reports.
This has been dubbed by many as the worst intersection in the entire state. The intersection at Hooker Boulevard and the Gold Coast Highway in Broadbeach has been considered a nightmare since the light rail construction began. Routine testing of the new G-Link system has identified critical technical bugs that are affecting the intersection's traffic lights. As the light rail passes the major intersection, the traffic lights reset themselves, causing drivers to be stuck for longer periods of time.
So I live in southern Broadbeach and I have to come by this intersection basically every morning for university, and I sit in the traffic for so long. And I mean, it's always been a really busy intersection, but since, post light rail construction, I've noticed that the lights are just sitting on red for a really long time.
The right-hand turn-off into major shopping centre Pacific Fair has also left shoppers and business owners fuming at the lights.
Well, whenever I come to Pac Fair here, it's terrible. I have to wait over at the turn-off right over there, and it's ridiculous. Why should I have to wait so long when other people are just getting to go right away? It's 20 minutes of waiting for nothing.
With the light rail expected to be completed by next month, many are hoping that these bugs will be fixed in time. My name is Elise Stevenson and this is Griffith Nightly News.
More than 250 students gathered today for World Vision's annual Global Leadership Convention here on the Gold Coast. This conference is set out to educate the youth on international injustices and encourage them to be a part of the world's biggest movement, the movement to end poverty. Brittany McKenzie has more on this story.
Students united today to hear about poverty in Rwanda and how the genocide 2 decades ago still affects their food security.
We bring hunger down by deciding that today in this room, every single one of us are leaders. We're global citizens, and we cannot rest until this injustice is completely eradicated from the world that we live in.
This year's World Vision's youth ambassador and guest speaker at the convention is 17-year-old Medina Momood. She had the opportunity of a lifetime to travel to Rwanda and witness firsthand the extent of extreme poverty.
Change is more than possible. It's happening because we are the generation that is brave and courageous enough to fight for change.
Today she connects the youth to a larger world as she shares her stories from this personal experience.
Rwanda has a huge need just for the basic necessities of life.
Inspiration is at the heart of the convention, with students pledging to make a difference.
I realise that we can no longer leave things up to society because we are society. Therefore, I'm excited to make a change in my school community.
World Vision aimed to equip the students with the right tools and education so they can go on to be powerful leaders in the movement to end poverty and lead their school in this year's 40-hour famine.
We're expecting a bigger and better famine and would love to break the $1 million mark this year in terms of fundraising.
To find out more information and how you can be a part of the movement to end poverty, visit World Vision's website at worldvision.com.au. This is Brittany McKenzie reporting for Griffith University News.
The residents of Jacobs Well are looking forward to the Arts by the Sea Festival being held on the 23rd to the 25th of this month. Sponsored by the Gold Coast City Council, the Jacobs Well Progress Association and other local businesses, it is bound to be the village's event of the year. Lauren Turner reports.
Jacobs Well might just seem like a sleepy fishing village, but to the locals that live here, it's heaven on earth. The Arts by the Sea Festival is their chance to show off their little slice of paradise.
Okay, Jacobs Well's a great little place. It's 10 minutes off the highway, 40 minutes from Brisbane. You leave work, stressful environment, you get here, it's like a great little oasis, much like a little seaside holiday village.
Market Director and Social Media Liaison for the festival, Jodie Rowland, says that there will be attractions for the entire family.
We've got hot rods, we've got vintage cars, we have the Rural Fire Brigade, we have on-stage performances with rock bands and solo guitarists.
The committee have been working tirelessly around the clock to bring the festival to life.
Also your jumping castles, all your standard amusements, jumping castle, super slide, wax hands, glitter tattoos, face painting, that kind of thing.
The aim of the festival is to put this little village on the map and to put an end to the often asked question, where the hell is Jacobs Well? Residents of the Well truly believe that this is the Gold Coast's best kept secret and they're ready to share it with you. Reporting from Jacobs Well, I'm Lauren Turner.
Students from Griffith University's Gold Coast campus have held a full-scale mock election today in a celebration of Australian politics. The campaign strategies class involved over 90 students who all got together for a day of fun, games and voting. You wouldn't think that this, or this would be part of an election campaign, but for Chris Mamozelis' campaign strategies course, fun is all part of the learning curve.
The start of the course, they're a little bit apprehensive because they're not into politics per se, but what happens at the end, they really understand the process and what it takes to be a vigilant citizen in a democratic society.
When the students weren't running about, they were learning how to run an election campaign. But Chris still has a simple message about practical politics.
Your target audience are human beings too, and they also like to have a laugh.
One thing to learn from a textbook and then one thing to go out and apply the skills practically. And I feel that that was a lot more valuable and much easier to understand.
But the campaign strategies course wasn't all about fun. It was about the importance of politics in Australian society. So we came to the Gold Coast campus to ask the students what they think.
Do you think it's important to learn about politics in university?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think that it's important, particularly for Australian politics.
It would be better if they started it a little bit earlier.
Probably half the people in Australia don't understand anything about politics and vote for the wrong party anyway.
We need to understand the way our political system and the economy works, to be active citizens, and to even just to further our careers. It doesn't matter what degree you're doing, what industry you work in, we're all going to be impacted by the political system.
There is certainly hope for the graduates and politicians of the future. Tom Mann, Gold Coast News. The increasing use of mobile phones in restaurants among dining patrons is quickly becoming a problem for restaurateurs. With the number of restaurants with complete phone bans growing in the USA, is it only a matter of time until Australian dining venues make the switch? Michaela Eadie has the story.
The increasing overuse of mobile phones in restaurants amongst dining patrons is quickly becoming a problem for restaurateurs. With the number of restaurants with complete mobile phone bans growing in the USA, is it only a matter of time until the Australian dining venues make the switch? I asked restaurant owner Glenn Richards for his opinion on the matter.
You lose a lot of the atmosphere in the restaurant because you lose the people talking, you lose polite conversation, you have people literally, I've seen people in the restaurant talking to each other through their phones, posting messages on Facebook and text messages to each other and that sort of thing, rather than just looking up and talking to the person in front of them.
With smartphone usage amongst Australian adults at a record-breaking high of 88%, it's obvious that this popular device is about more than just texting and calling. When we asked the question of whether mobile phone usage is acceptable in restaurants, it was clear that this is indeed a controversial topic.
It's like a time and a place for it, like casual lunch like this, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but if you're with family or a birthday or a special event or something, it's a little bit different.
I don't think it's a huge issue. We get a lot of business people coming, so understandably they're using their phone for business reasons.
I'm quite happy for people to use their phones as they wish, as long as they're not disrupting other people.
Whether these devices are used for entertainment, information or communication, it is clear that this excessive mobile phone usage in restaurants is quickly becoming the norm. This is Michaela Reedy reporting for Griffith University News. Thank you and good night.
There's increasing anger over the Gold Coast major transport project. Business owners are threatening legal action against the state government over the prolonged light rail construction, with traders continually going broke. Jasmine Young reports.
Surfers Paradise, Gold Coast's most popular holiday destination and local hotspot, is now almost unrecognisable. Many businesses have closed, and as the construction of the light rail project continues, each day is getting harder for those still operating.
It's been pretty hard for local businesses. I just don't know how much longer we can withstand this disturbance.
The beauty of surface is gone. It's a really unpleasant place to be now.
Many of these businesses have been around for years, some even decades, but it's only since the beginning of the light rail construction that businesses are struggling to make ends meet. More and more traders are being forced to close down their stores because tourists and local shoppers are going out of their way to avoid the area. The car spaces are extremely limited and the noise is becoming unbearable. It's quite clear that the ongoing construction is having a major impact on the local community. The impact on business has been heavier than anyone could have anticipated. Locals being crippled by the ongoing works are looking at suing the state government to compensate for their losses.
We just don't know what to do anymore. Our turnover's dropped by 50%. We're considering taking legal action.
The Rapid Transit Group has issued a statement reminding locals that there is no compensation scheme available for business disturbance during the construction project.
There have been complaints about the construction of the light rail system, but we're working as hard and as fast as we can to complete the construction and the testing phase ready for public.
Stress is considered normal for university students, but is it causing more harm than good? Recent studies from Australian universities show that high levels of stress can contribute to the development of mental illness. Emma Lasker has the story.
University and stress go hand in hand, but when does too much stress become harmful? Recent studies from Bond University have shown that those with high levels of stress are more prone to developing a mental illness. Psychologist and Associate Professor from Bond University, Dr. Peter Stapleton, is leading the study, which has shown that mental illness among students is 3 times the average.
So we're looking at different things like levels of stress in first-year students and whether or not the impact of the university that they're going to, the environment, the teachers that they have, whether that impacts their experience of stress. Obviously, where they live, whether it's on campus, off campus, all those kind of things are factors that we're going to consider.
Third-year journalism student from Griffith University, Tom Mann, finds it hard to cope with these stresses on a daily basis.
Like, I think about time management. So basically, I think I've got 6 assignments due in the next 2 weeks, which is just ridiculous, you know, because how are you meant to keep up with that? I just can't.
The study has proven that anxiety and depression levels increase rapidly from week 8 of semester.
At this point of semester, with only 4 weeks left to go, students are feeling the pressure of university more than ever. This study highlights the impact stress can have on their future.
Emma Lasker, Griffith News.
And now in sport, the NRL has released a review on the new concussion rule that came into effect at the end of the 2014 season. Established to protect the welfare of players in both short and long-term situations, the rule change is being received positively. Emily Nemo has more on this story.
It's Queensland's most popular sport, loved by the young and old, but is rugby league becoming too dangerous for players? With any sport, there are the unfortunate events where players are injured.
Sports physicians are seeing, on average, 5 players a week with injuries relating to concussion. As a result, the NRL modified its guidelines for the management of concussion.
In the period following a head knock, a player must be assessed by medical staff before re-entering the match. The management of concussions addresses the key points: suspecting the diagnosis in a player with symptoms such as confusion or headaches, referral of the player for medical evaluation, and the player must have medical clearance before being allowed to return to a match. Gold Coast Titans forward Ryan James supports the new rule, even if it affects the entire squad.
It's going to be good in the long run because if you get knocked out now, you have to wait a week or two before you can play. Happened to us last week. William Zuma got knocked out, and he has to do his concussion test this week to see if he can play. And if he's unable to play this week, then it obviously hurts the team, but it's good for him in the future.
While sports physician and Gold Coast Titans team Dr. Nicola Drew is happy with the introduction of the new rule, she does say the NRL took its time.
Emily Nimmo, Griffith University News.
Waves were made today at the drug-aware Margaret River Pro. The famous break, the box, was used for the first time in the contest's history. It had some surfers frothing at the mouth, leaving others wiped out. Christine Turnbull reports.
One more cup of cafe before I go.
World Tour history has been made today at the drug-aware Margaret River Pro. Round 5 of the men's has commenced at the box for the first time in the competition's history. It's only recently been pioneered by the surfers because of its shallow, treacherous nature.
We've decided to shift the comp to the box today. It's the first time in competition history we've done that. It's a very inconsistent wave. It doesn't often break, and it doesn't often break well for an entire day. So it's a big move to take it here today.
The box's short, powerful, pumping wave provided plenty of spectacle for its wipeouts as much as its rides. I caught up with Joel Parkinson before his round 5 heat and asked him what his thoughts were on riding this famous wave.
It's going to be amazing. To me, it's a big step for surfing here today, and for us to get out there, that wave is just amazing.
Joel went on to win his heat and has now been matched up with 11-time world champion Kelly Slater for round 6 of the drug-aware Margaret River Pro. I'm Christine Turnbull for Griffith University News.
You have been watching Griffith University News. I'm Tom Mann. Good night.